Hello and welcome to episode 21 of our Timberborn Update 4 modded playthrough with the Folktales faction. Last time, we did what I called final preparations for turning this area up here into a giant industrial powerhouse. And there is plenty for us to get done on this today to start building this area out. But before we do that, I did want to address a couple things you guys brought up in the comments. And chiefly among those, I don't know why I came all the way over here, chiefly among those is you guys said that the reason I don't have enough food in the Iron Islands is because the district center, district crossing, I always want to call those the other thing, can only import 30 items at a time. And the workers here have to schlep all this stuff all the way across this entire area. So what we're going to do to kind of prevent that, or at least stop having huge problems with it, we're going to put a little warehouse right here, set it to hold packaged foods, and have, I guess I could just have this turned into supply. Yeah, so that way these guys just have to go zoop, zoop, zoop right here, and then once it's built, we'll prioritize it by haulers, of course, and then the beavers working in this district can actually come up here to take care of that instead of having to worry about all that. So that's going to help short term. Long term, the solution is going to be to add another district crossing in here and take care of importing more than 30 at a time. So we'll let them take care of that. Other thing has been brought to my attention that this entire area, this whole design is just completely flawed. And you guys were very quick to let me know about how poor of a design choice this was. So the original intent behind this area was to have a second level of these smelters, because these were originally one block further down, but I detonated all the way down to the bottom of the map to put these 6 in. They've only built 3 of them so far. But then I needed another level on top of them, so I said, you know what, why don't I just build with these side platforms and these middle pieces, the really janky ones, and then just move all of our, let me click on this, there we go, move all of our windmills up one. But then somebody else pointed out, actually more than one somebody's pointed out, that the windmills do not transmit power down from the base. So all of this is completely unnecessary. It's going to have to get rebuilt, in addition to this really not being the best setup possible for how this stuff is working. I did have somebody suggest that I just replace these brick paths with some of these reinforced platforms and then build the 4x1 things coming over this way. However, that is actually not the best idea, because the clearance issues on the 4x1 platform, if you take a look from the side, if this is actually going to let me show anything. Yeah, so you can see, I'm not going to have them build this, but just so you guys can look at it, this actually extends back a block and a half down, which is all well and good because, you know, it's a pretty long thing. That's fine. If you look under here, they just barely are clearing the smokestacks here. So it was a great idea. Not going to fault you for that, but it's unfortunately not going to work because of the clearance issues. So that's why these janky side platform middle pieces and then these 3x1s are going to stay. We are going to have to still have a second level of platforms here to get access to the entrances for these smelters. But that, thankfully, is not going to be that big of a deal. What is going to be annoying, though, is replacing all this stuff. Because, well, one, we have these vertical frame flywheels, which, as much as I do love them, because I personally endorsed them, the reality is that these are sapping power from our massive storage of power down here, which currently is empty because these have been all, you know, completely destroyed. But they're going to sap a whole lot of power, and we don't need this much storage. So, I know this is probably extremely frustrating to watch. We are going to have to take all of this out. These guys are fine up on their little pedestals. That's okay. And I am going to keep them up on the universal powered levees because those will connect directly to the back of the, what do you call them? Smelters. But these vertical framed flywheels do not need to exist like this. They're going to go away. And instead, what I think we're going to need to do Yeah, there's not really anything I can hide back here either. I'm just going to put anything I can really fit underneath these. Probably just going to be regular levees, and then we'll have to have these power shafts go across. This guy I'm going to leave in place because that is actually transmitting power, but we'll go ahead and just get rid of all of this stuff. Just keep these elevated for, you know, aesthetic purposes. But the rest of this is actually on solid ground, so I can't put levees there. It's going to make it nice and easy. So that is what we will do. We'll just have that set up like so. This one piece right here is going to stay because it has to transmit power downward. Although I think I'm going to be tempted to go in and use a vertical to straight power shaft connector just for aesthetic purposes, make that look a little bit nicer. And we will live our lives just fine without having to worry about any of that. So it's going to look a little janky for a little bit, but eventually it will be fine. This will all get built, and then once all of this is done, we can replace our smelters. But I'm not worried about it because we have 5,600 metal blocks. We're going to be all right. Just wanted to let you guys know that I do read the comments. I say it every time, but I need you to understand I exhaustively read all the comments, and I do my best to try and remember what needs to be addressed in future episodes. I can't always get to all of it, but I really do value your input. So always feel free to let me know if you see something that is just, this is a little suspect, or I don't think that's how that's supposed to work, because I always appreciate and welcome feedback. So that was a very important thing to get out of the way at the beginning of the episode. Outside of those two things, I was also, I know there's a lot, also notified that I'm out of gears, which, you know, makes sense because I paused all the gear workshops. So I'm going to unpause all the gear workshops to get back to work. And you might be wondering, hey, why does the lumber mill say no recipe? Well, that's because I've downloaded a couple new mods, including one by one of our viewers, I believe. Todor Allen is his name. And he's created a mod that allows you to create dirt by grinding up logs with water to make planks, and then like some sort of like a sawdust dirt hybrid. So this is actually an earlier recipe to get dirt, so you can make other things with it instead of having terraforming. So I figured, you know what? We might as well go ahead and try this out, see how this works. So I'll set 2 of those to make ecological planks, is what the item is called. And the rest of these are going to be making the regular planks. Just go ahead and get those going. Got plenty of logs stored up. So I thought that was worth including. There's also, I believe, a recipe somewhere for a something you can make with the dirt. I don't remember exactly where it's at. I probably should have looked at that before I, started recording. But, well, I mean, I don't know. It's somewhere in here. There's a recipe to make some other stuff with the dirt. But I digress. So that's fun. And also, you might have noticed this new button, Set Up Automation. So I haven't messed with this at all. We're going to learn today. You're going to learn today. But this is the dynamite mod that you might have seen a couple people reference. And we're going to be doing a little bit of a detonation here. So might be a decent chance to mess with this. But I'll try to give a brief overview of what the general purpose behind this is. For example, this dynamite, it hasn't been set up yet, but once it's set up, we'll be able to automate, unpause, pause buildings, do different kinds of things like, hey, blow this up, put another one down, and then blow that one up, put another one down until you reach height level X or whatever. So I'm not going to put dynamite here. But when we actually do need to get to that, we will explore that, see how that works, and if that's going to be something of benefit to us. This is a very, very wide toolbar here. But if you've been paying attention, you know there's one thing I haven't gotten to yet, and that's this little guy right here, trains. That's right, Choo Choo Mod is back. It is reportedly working. Not technically perfectly. There's still a couple of small issues that seem to still be propping up, but Taubert has worked very hard to try and get the mod back to a stable and usable condition and update forth all of the new district mechanics. So I'm going to be very excited to get back to that. I don't know that we're going to get too much done with that in today's video, but it is on the radar, and we are going to be setting up train trade between all of our districts. But as you remember, if you watched the previous hard mode playthrough, that it takes a very long time to build trains that go all the way across the map. We're going to do our best. There's plenty of opportunity to use the trains for the distribution of goods and now passengers. So as soon as we start, we'll mess with stuff. A lot of this is still very new, and I haven't done too much testing with it, but things do seem to be working at least as well as they used to for the transfer of goods. So it's going to be very, very, very nice to get back to that. But I promised you that this episode we would start building our giant industrial district. We're not going to finish it today. We might not even get much of it actually built today, but the most important thing is going to be to get everything set up so the area is going to be actually functional. We're going to have places for beavers to live and to work and to do recreational activities. So the idea that I had was to kind of terraforming this with the dynamite to make a terrace of evenly spaced out sections. So you notice this is already 3 blocks. Might actually be easier to visualize with a path segment. But yeah, this is 3 blocks. This is 3 blocks. This is 4 blocks. This is 3 blocks. This is 1 block. This is 2 blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to detonate all of, that's not dynamite. I'm going to end up detonating all of this to make this 3 blocks, 3 blocks, 3 blocks, 3 blocks, 3 blocks, and so on and so forth, to make these 3 block tiers. And then what we'll do is each of these times it goes down, we're going to have a 3x3 building or something of a similar 3 width. The depth might vary in some sort of a stair step configuration. Now there's a lot of stuff that fits there. So we have our triple lodge is 2 blocks high, but it's 3 blocks wide. We might end up putting these kind of on top of stuff. But we also have our, underground pile you're not going to really be able to do too much with, but the large warehouses would fit like that. The large tanks, if you had a little bit more vertical clearance, and the side platforms would fit like that. But the idea is I want to be able to have different levels of things that are all kind of nested together in like a Jenga style, to where you can just have everything you need for storage, and then a layer for production, and then a layer for the beavers to live at. And have all of their recreation things with the rooftop terraces and the carousels and everything, all in one super efficient, hopefully slightly aesthetically pleasing design. That just takes up a huge bit of space here with some sort of ornamentation from our decoration blocks. And eventually I want to try to make little frog statues here that are going to channel the water out of their mouths or something. If I can even manage that. I don't even know if that's possible. We're going to try. And then we're going to harness the power with the help of our water wheels and various things to power all of this. So this is theoretically going to be a completely self-contained colony. If we can make the stuff work that I want to do, then I think it's going to be really, really cool. So very excited for that. Obviously, it's going to take a long time to do, and I can't promise we're going to get that much done today, but we are going to start the process. And like most things in life, getting started is often one of the hardest parts. So we're gonna bite the bullet. We're gonna get it done, and we're going to see exactly what we're able to accomplish. Now, in terms of width, this isn't going to go the whole width of this whole plateau right here, but I do want it to be more or less the whole width of this area up here. And one of the ways that we're going to try to accomplish that is by figuring out what kind of width we're going to need for different industrial purposes. We have all this wood refinement. Most of these are 3 blocks deep, some are 4, and the paper mill, because of the orientation of its door, is 2. So depending on how we want to lay our paths out, we have a couple of different options. But I'm mostly inclined to, I guess I could just illustrate with this, have a setup kind of like what we have here, where we have a 3 block deep, and then we have 4 block deeps here, 4 blocks deep buildings, I guess is the correct way to say that. And then on the corner here we have a paper mill, and then we have this little windmill thing right here. So having a 7 block wide, I guess, core building area I think is going to work really well and allow us to split things between the different types of buildings. We're not going to need to worry about metal refineries or smelters, whatever, because that is what this entire district is supposed to be right here, the Iron Islands, as advertised, needs to actually have something to do with refining metal. So that's what it's going to be. I think this is going to be mostly wood stuff. So that would fit in with us putting all of these lumber mills and the other lumber mills and the gear workshops, things that make books, explosives, maybe not, wood workshops, and everything would fit very nicely there. So I think there's going to be a very easy way for us to do that, planning on a 7 wide unit right there. So if you take a look at what we have going on here, I've had this set up in a 9 wide to blast this out, this specifically right here. So 9 wide would give us 7 in the middle and 1 walkway on either side, and then a little bit of a buffer on the edge to prevent it from turning into just nasty, ugly overhangs everywhere. And if we have 7 wide, in terms of housing, what that's going to allow us to do is, I know they can't build up here, that's kind of the whole point. We could have triple lodge here, and then we could have a triple lodge here, and then in the middle we've got plenty of space for stuff that could span multiple levels, like, for example, a large tank for water, or for whatever you can imagine to put in there, large warehouses stacked on top of each other that could be accessible from the end, or anything like this. 7 wide is a very, very flexible arrangement, and I think we're going to be very happy with that. And then on the outside here, plan is going to be to use reinforced ladders and reinforced platforms to connect doorways vertically, and then use, since people have been calling me out for not using the bridges, we're going to use the bridges. We have steel bridges, which are part of the path extension mod. We're going to use these with the trains. We have suspension bridges. These just look so nice when they're actually used correctly. Please do not crash while you're taking the photo. Thank you. But having these set up just like so in between the doorways on the triple lodges, which, if you remember, we did over here. I think that looks, well, actually, these are side platforms. I didn't use the bridges, but this looks a whole lot better than just having the vertical platform legs everywhere. So we'll either be doing this with the side platforms, or we'll do the bridges depending on the area. I just think that looks a whole lot nicer. But if we use the reinforced platforms, we can also, if you remember, we just do an example with this. They're not going to build this, don't worry. We can put our side platform 1 by 1 on this outside, and then actually create little balconies for these guys. Or you could have the 2 by 1s, and then you could put in your rooftop terrace right outside the door. And we kind of did something similar. Let me just go ahead and delete this so I don't forget and have it turn into a really, really bad thing. We kind of did something similar over here on the back side. And you can see how that's supported. We've got a bunch of scenic views of the chestnut forest, and then I guess the Iron Islands beyond. But think something like this, but a lot bigger, that's going to house several hundred beavers just by itself, built on top of industrial stuff. And none of the wood refining actually generates pollution. That would be the smelters and everything. So nobody needs to be making any jokes about the Black Lung District or whatever. So we'll come up with a name for it, which, by the way, you still have a little bit of time to suggest. I'm going to run a poll at the end of the week. Well, I guess maybe Wednesday, so I could record in Thursday's episode. But I'm going to run a poll with the best suggestions, my favorite suggestions that you guys give for the name of this new industrial district. So at least for right now, you got a little bit more time to put your names in before I make a final decision on the last few that I'm going to put in the poll. So please do let me know if you have any thoughts or opinions on that, and we will move forward from there. But enough talking. We've got plenty of work to do terraforming this, making sure stuff is going to be in a good shape. I don't know that I need to worry about putting actual terrain blocks back in here. One, we don't have the bots, so that would be another, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes before we're even going to be able to put actual dirt back in. So I think I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to choose not to let that impact my personal well-being today. So that is what we're going to do. I am going to, at some point, have to get rid of this path and blast it out. But for right now, I'm just focused on having this 9-block wide area perfectly cascading down in units of 3. At least down to about right here. They've got plenty of dynamite to put down, but because this is a separate district, they don't have anywhere to store it, so they're not going to acquire it, which means we need to build a warehouse for dynamite. So I'm going to build that as well. Probably don't need to put it up here, but it's fine. I'll just put that right there. Set that to dynamite. They'll begin importing, and eventually they'll take care of all this, and then we can move on with our lives. Now, acknowledging that, we can come back over here, check on our progress. Probably not much because we've been in single time speed this whole time after after 20 minutes. So let's turn that back on and check and see what's going on with food in this district. Yeah, the number is still pretty low because we have to pass through to this other district, but now that this is built, supply prioritized by haulers, we should see, theoretically, if they're not idiots, should see beavers move stuff here. I think what I'm going to have to do is double check. Aha! Set to obtain. I'm just going to have that be unchecked for right now. Do I have anything else holding the food items? I've got this guy right here. I think I have to play nice correctly with the way the building supply works for them to actually do stuff correctly. So I would imagine if this has supply selected, they should... There it goes. So now the haulers can come pick up from this building and take them to the other parts of the district. These guys aren't going to have to worry about taking all the food everywhere else. Let's see, there they go. So we should see this number start to improve pretty drastically over the next little bit, he says, as the food number goes lower than it's been in forever. But that is theoretically the correct way to do it. We just haven't quite seen it work the way we want quite yet. But it'll work eventually. Meanwhile, this district, as of yet unnamed District 4, does have plenty of food. 153 out of 1,200 because we have this giant storage here. So I'm not worried about those guys. These guys are, well, they're doing their best. So that shouldn't be an issue. But one thing we probably do need to do while they're taking care of all that detonation fun is to come in here and unceremoniously remove these pine trees that are in the way. Just so we can place our district crossing. Have our path come across here. And then we just have to make ourselves a little staircase to come up the stairs and somehow unclick twice. Yeah, and then connect everything here. So that's going to work quite nicely. This is all connected correctly. We've got our district crossing building. And I'll just put this right at the bottom of the stairs. And we'll put this here. And this also is going to get, I think I can, no, I actually didn't build this in quite the right way to make that work, but, ooh, long tiny warehouse. Let's do that. I'm going to get rid of 2 more. I'll put those long tiny warehouses in there. These are from the, well, it's not technically only from the Water Beaver mod, but it's from a mod that is a dependency of the Water Beaver mod. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's some sort of 2 times storage, 2 block storage or whatever. Same developer who's done the Water Beaver mod, which, by the way, videos for those, got a new one coming tomorrow. We had one this past Saturday on my bonus video weekend. But why does this say it's not... Okay, they haven't built this yet. So do go check those out if you haven't yet. It's been great fun so far. Very new, very challenging, refreshing take on Timberborn. I think you guys are really going to like. So would love for you to join us over there on those. But I don't need to shill my own content for too long because, you know, we're actually trying to play the game. So I'll leave it at that. They're going to take their sweet time building all this, so we are going to have to come back to that a little bit later, which is why I started doing some of this other stuff as well. Because you know it's going to take them forever and a day to get the rest of this stuff built. I'm going to prioritize these metal stairs so the food intake can become a little bit quicker. Because, I mean, we got 40, which, okay, now 60 some. Yeah, having 2 district crossings that can, you know, work at the same time is definitely going to be the correct choice to be making here. And we also need more beavers, and as much as I don't want to disrupt how kind of quaint, nice this looks over here, we just need more housing, and I don't have time right now to be bothered to worry about aesthetics for it. We will fix it later. Don't worry. It's just for right now, we got some other things that are going to be priorities. So if this is okay, no, that's not gonna fly. That's fine. I'll just do 2 of these guys right here. House another 6 beavers, and we'll have to figure out exactly what else we're going to be doing. But they are making good progress here on our side platforms, which is always good to see. These are now connected, and yeah, they're bringing in the food, so we should see a pretty big increase. Hey, look at that. It's almost like that was the correct solution the whole time, and I was just blissfully ignoring everybody's advice. But that will be a big help in keeping this district fed, and by proxy district 4 fed and taken care of. Meanwhile, Beaverburg tends to be doing pretty well. I don't think we have any major issues short of having 25 vacancies. But this whole thing is going completely away as soon as we have our major industrial district taken care of. Oh, I love it when the game hangs like that. All right. Now we have the issue of these areas are empty of trees. Need to get rid of these seedlings before they decide to make more trees. We definitely don't want that. Those guys can go away, go do something else. Nothing to do in range. Are you sure? Oh, I didn't mark those for cutting, did I? All right, problem solved. I was wondering why I hadn't taken those down yet. All right. So now these are done. That can go away. That can go away. We got these 2 guys taking these 2 trees out. Those are marked good. Okay, they're off doing other stuff. They're going to take care of that. And then we can get rid of those lumberjack flags too. And finally, start actually building. So now this district should have 6 unemployed beavers, which means it's time to build ourselves a builder's hut. Doesn't really matter where we put this because it's not going to stay this way anyway. But we'll make sure that's good to go. Don't have any homeless beavers. I think for the benefit of, well, everybody, we're going to have to hire a few more. So I'm going to put in 2 more lodges. We'll bring some more beavers over, and I'm actually going to build 2 builder's huts right here, just so we have enough to take care of stuff. Is that actually going to work? 6 more. You know, I'm probably actually better off building 1 builder's hut and 1 hauling post, because this district does not currently have one. Yes, that is what we'll do. So they'll be able to take care of that just fine. Tooth grindstone, I'll get rid of that because we're not cutting any more trees, at least not for right now. And they'll take care of whatever they need to take care of, and this can get back underway. So while they're doing that, I figured we could take a second and talk about how we're going to use the trains. We're not wasting any time here. I did say before I wanted the trains to connect all the districts. The problem is going to be running track between, because we've used so much of our land, and the geography of this map is not exactly friendly for the purpose of building trains. So it's going to require a whole lot of bridges, and that's going to be interesting to build. Not only because the steel bridges take a considerable amount of resources, but because the way this is set up is not really going to allow very many straight line paths. And the choo-choo tracks are only straight or 90-degree angles. There's no S-bends. There's no 45-degree angles. So we're not going to be making any scenic sweeping vista turns or anything. It's straight line turn, straight line turn. You can't see the hand motions I'm making, so I don't know why I'm even doing them. But you get the idea. So it's going to look a lot better if we think about our routes carefully and we don't build things that are going to just zigzag all over the place. Straight line paths are going to be your best friend. And if you have to do some sort of a turn, make sure it conforms with the landscape. Or see, like, right here would be a good place to put one of those turns if we were running a train this way. But I don't think we are. Another option we have is to kind of work with the landscape. Like right here we have this cliffside. And I'm reminded of those old photographs of the American West when they were building the Transcontinental Railroad. So all of you in Europe, I don't know what they teach you guys over in I guess it would be world history for you, but we spent so much time when I was in elementary school learning about, for some reason, the building of railroads across the country and all that stuff. So I have this very freshly implanted in my mind at a young age. Also, I'm completely obsessed with trains, so that has something to do with it as well. But I really like the idea of taking a train and going alongside this cliff face. We might have to do a little bit of blasting. But I think that would look really, really sweet, especially because the trains in the Choo Choo mod, at least for right now, are all steam locomotives. So you have the little puffs of smoke from the boilers as the thing travels along. I think that's a really, really cool looking thing. So I'm going to, at least for this district, plan on this train coming in here, going along this whole cliff face area. Would make for a very nice thumbnail as well. But that is going to just be a very small part of the whole equation. Obviously, we have to plan where the stations are going to go. It gets a little easier here because we have all this in one spot. We'll figure out something for the goods and for the passengers. I actually don't know how the passenger stuff is going to work with the mod. I haven't really messed with that too much. They might not use it at all, but if they do, it's cool. Even if they don't, then I can just pick whatever train wagons to look like passenger cars, and it's like, okay, we can pretend that there's beavers in there and they're commuting or taking their scenic train trip to go see the giant industrial hellscape at the waterfall. But I digress. This is going to be a really cool place to build, and that also means that we can take advantage of the elevation here to do a really cool train trestle going either across here to our Beaverly Hills district. Beaverly Hills, Hills, I'm not, I don't know what that was, but we could do something cool across the river here with our, I think I could do that with the steel bridges and a combination of those and the decorative dam blocks. That might take me a little while, and that's definitely not something we're going to get into today, but just, I think that would look really cool. Would be a nice little aesthetic centerpiece for this district. And then moving on over here, we also have this entire kind of disused area. I think would be a nice place to have trains running through. Across this spot, obviously there's a little bit of an elevation change, but that's no problem because it's got slope tracks. And I think this whole area right here that is currently set up with just a bunch of storage that we kind of threw in there would be a great place for a little train terminal. So I imagine the train going between Beaverburg 12 and the as of yet unnamed, not large tank, District 4 is going to come through here. And then there will also, of course, be one going over to the Iron Islands that I imagine will end up following either this set of platforms or this dam or something and having a station. Maybe over here. Maybe over here would be good because obviously we have all this metal stuff. We've got ideas. We have options. We have ways to make this a very appealing and interesting thing. And I very, very much like that idea. So now that this is a little bit more well-connected, yes, I have heard the complaints and the prayers of the... Okay, that's a little weird to say. But so some of you guys get weird with that stuff too, so I know I can dish it back at you. Don't do blasphemy, kids. It's bad. But the consensus is that you guys are sick of me putting platforms down after I said I wasn't going to do platforms. So I would like to replace this one with a nice bridge. I just haven't decided quite yet if it's going to be the suspension bridges. I mean, we have the science, so might as well just go ahead and research these. But the 6x bridges, we compare down here. They're not going to reach quite all the way out. But I think if we can do our math correctly and figure out exactly how that might actually work. That might actually be more or less perfect if I have it come out like this. I was going to put in decorative dam pieces as kind of bridge abutments, and then just use these guys going all the way across for decorative purposes. Of course, steel bridges as well, but those are obviously cost a lot more in terms of resources, and I don't intend to use all of that quite so much. So considering that this is now connected also over here, I'm not going to be so worried about getting rid of this. But let's check our... yeah, we still don't have a ton of food. I'll tell you what I should not have done is I should not have built this giant large warehouse for all of the packaged foods. That definitely should only have been a regular medium warehouse. I think that's what's happening, is it's sucking up a lot of our stuff. So instead, I'm going to swap these, and hopefully that will curb the exports of the packaged foods, since this is pretty much almost full. So I think I have to have that set to just accept goods, manage distribution. Did I specifically exclude dynamite? Because that would be really funny if I did. Why can't I ever find it here? There it is. Okay, it's set to import if needed, and it's definitely needed, so I don't know why they haven't done this yet. It seems kind of weird that they wouldn't do that. So I guess I just have to set it to always import the dynamite, and we'll go from there. Unless it's an issue where this district doesn't have any dynamite and doesn't have any storage for it, which, you know, might actually be the case. Yep, I think that's exactly what's happened, because I had it set up here, but I don't have any storage. So guess what? This is now dynamite storage. So that ought to solve our problem. I cannot believe, well, I kind of can, but yeah, that's a little embarrassing, but we'll live. Now the fun part is going to be demolishing this entire stack of stuff. I've got to connect this with the frog paths again, or else some people are going to come for my head. But what we'll do is kind of fix this a little bit. Put some explosives down here. I guess prioritize those. And I'm going to level this side. And we're going to go over with our dam pieces. We have all these different things, and make bridge abutments. I know I said this before, but I like the idea of having a nice suspension bridge here. Unfortunately, there's nothing long enough to literally bridge this entire gap. So we are going to have to have. I can't get it to show me whatever because there's nothing for it to attach to. But I'm going to have 3 blocks coming out this way, and then on the other side it's going to be replaced as well. We're not going to need to have the ladders there. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm not going to worry about metal levee blocks or ribbed metal or anything. I always want to think that the 3x1 means it's 3 long and 1 high. My God. All right. Yeah, this is the bit that I wanted here. Let's detonate that. And then I guess these guys are still going to want to go this way. But the idea here is, oh, that's what you can do with the dirt. That's what was in the mod I was talking about earlier. This is just the base game slope thing that you can rebuild if you want. But I do have dirt. Not in this district though, so I'm not going to worry about it. Instead, I'm going to go over to our staircases here. I guess decorations. Oh, that actually looks kind of nice. Yeah, let's put that there. And then I think we're going to be fine if I go ahead and temporarily get rid of this. We'll be all right. Just hold yourselves. Don't need to panic. I always want to go the first thing being the length. All right. So let's pause real quick so I don't do anything completely stupid. I just need to make sure this is the correct son of a... All right. I was wrong. I was incorrect in my length assumption of the bridge abutments here. So might as well just go ahead and unlock all these. If I... Oh, jeez. See, I thought this was actually going to be working here. If I can figure out the math, because the three long abutments here, I don't think is exactly what I want. Oh, okay, that's an idea. 2x2. If I can go for a 2x2 here. Make sure I'm deleting the path and not the resources. Oh, no, come on. Very tricky frog path deletion. If I come in here with, say, the 4x1s, and I, in the middle, meet with 3x1s, is that going to be... That can be an issue? I think it is. I'm just... Bear with me. Bear with me. I am attempting to figure this out in real time. I know it's everybody's favorite pastime. Yeah, this has to be like this currently because of the thing right there. But there's no rule saying that this side has to be like that. I can theoretically run off of that how I want to. So if I had 4x's here and here, then I believe I can go 3x in the middle. Let's try that out. I'm begging this to get swapped. The one needs to, the first dimension when you're measuring a package is length. I worked in ship. I guess I technically still do. I work a lot with shipping and receiving and stuff. The first measurement is length. The second one is width. Third one is height. Height is not a word. Please do not please do not say height. That irritates the you-know-what out of me. Well, it's the American South, so people sometimes have a tenuous grasp on English at best. But I don't know. It really shouldn't bother me. Like, I don't know. Say what you want. I'm not your dad. But it just it's like an unreasonable level of irritation to me when that kind of stuff gets said. But again, do what you want. Not really my business. But I wish I could have this centerpiece be both of these. Just have a pier in the middle, because that is going to be kind of an unfortunate situation here. So what we'll do instead is put in this guy right here. Just pretend like that was always a thing. And then 4x. And then in the middle, I should be able to fit a 2x2. Yep, there we go. And then there we go. Just like that. So you have kind of a 2-segment bridge. I wonder if I should reverse that so the taller 4-length span is in the center. I don't know. I kind of like that. I think that looks pretty snazzy. The reason, in case you were curious, the reason why I cannot move this all the way back is because this little warehouse would be in the way. I guess I could just delete it and just have it go all the way back. Should I do that? Should I? You know what? There's no law that says that the what's that in the movie Air Bud? There's no rule that says the dog can't play basketball. There's no rule that says I can't just delete stuff because I feel like it. So, all right, there we go. There we go. We'll just do it this way, because that way I can just have all of these. Oh, look how nice that looks. Look how nice that looks. Oh, I'm very happy with this. That is quite nice. So we'll do that. And then we can take our, I should unpause, take our decoration blocks, and then, I can't remember if that's in here. No, it's this thing. Wood decoration pieces, those are the inverted ones. Double height, that's what I want. I need this to be double heighted, like an actual bridge abutment. Too far from a district cannot be. Oh, I cry about it. That's not going to fit over there. Yeah, just put this on either side. So that's actually going to look like a bridge and give ourselves the benefit of this kind of a thing for the aesthetic bonus. Yeah. Build this first. And then I can just blast all this down. I'm going to actually pause construction on that one so it doesn't cause any issues. Let's build a path over this way so they can build that guy. And then we'll put our abutments on the side like this just so everything matches. Oh, you know what? I actually don't want to blow this one up. I want to blow this one up. Not this one, because this one can actually stay. So we'll get rid of that. They can pick that up. So while they're taking care of all that stuff, let's check on our explosives, and it looks like, yes, looks like most of it's done. So we'll do the bits that we can without killing any beavers, ideally. Don't walk there. There you go. All right, now we have, in this area at least, we've got our little spots ready to go. So now we have 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide, and now we just have to figure out what we're going to put here. I did say the bottom level is going to be, at least until I can kind of level stuff out a little bit more, going to be alternating between storage of different heights and types, and then production is going to go on top of that. So if we take a look here, just need to make sure this is the correct 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So this is actually going to be the outer bound walkway. I guess I could just put those paths in for now so we don't get too away from ourselves here. Now, if we come in with our large warehouses, we could even do underground piles at the very, very bottom if we wanted to have something go on top of those. But I don't think that's what we need to be worrying about. When we start building the side platforms over the top of things, that's where we're going to need to come on the outside with our reinforced platforms. Or, alternatively, because this is 7 wide, we could just come straight down the middle of the very bottom, at least, with our reinforced platforms there, and then kind of cantilever things out to the side. I don't know if that's the better option or not, but that's something we can look into. Just as a reminder, that's kind of what I did here. If you can see, this double reinforced platform here has the side platforms coming out from underneath and creates a nice big open space down here. I think as long as you have the balance of having the solid stuff on the outside, is going to look a little bit better than the other way around, which if you've been watching our, I almost said drowned, our diorama playthrough, is I've kind of built big stacks of stuff up, and then I have the side platforms going to the side and then touching in the center. I kind of like the idea, not honestly, of putting in, I'm going to pause this so I don't actually build this, but putting in these side platforms right here, just say go up a whole bunch of levels to make it well, level with the top here, and incrementally pulling out these side platforms here. So like, for example, if at the bottom of this I were to put these underground piles, they would easily fit under there at the very bottom. Might actually be the ideal solution, honestly. But to do something like this, just to give you a little bit of a slice of stuff, massive underground storage, and then on this level, perhaps we could also have paths going through the center of this. Perhaps on this level putting in things like maybe a lumber mill. And then on top of that, we have the option as soon as we get clearance up here to then have housing. I guess I would have to have, I gotta have more of these so I can actually temporarily build the buildings. We can put housing in like this, and then there's some space behind. We could either do storage that's kind of hidden for the smaller things, or some other kind of a something there. So that's an option. And then of course we would have the ability to have additional columns come out this side and match up. Or we could just say, you know what, let's turn the lodges around and have them come into the center. We're not going to really see the entrances, but they'll all be accessible. And then on the outside, you could have another set of lodges connected with platforms of their own. But that would require a little bit more than I think we want to deal with. So that's what this could look like with the reinforced platforms in the center. And I'll make a mock-up on the outside here to show you what the other option is. Reinforced platform. I might as well just do this on. I guess it doesn't matter. I'll do it right here. So if I have the same kind of thing with the skeleton on the outside, but facing in, then you could still. Of course, I picked the place I can't put the underground pile at the bottom because that, you know, my brain's obviously firing on all cylinders today. So I guess we'll just come on this side. You could obviously still do that. Pretend that this is the inside of the thing, and this is the outside. You could still do this. Still have your side platforms coming off. Let me attach this, please. What, am I in the right way here? Is this just not going to... Oh, okay. I was at the wrong angle. This has to be... Why is it giving me such a hard time with this? Well, at some point this worked, because I know I got it to work over here. Maybe I'm just not aiming in the right spot. This is irritating. All right, get rid of that. See if that helps at all. I don't know why it would let me do that over here. Or maybe it only lets me do it on one side. I don't know. There's no reason why this shouldn't work. I did not think the platforms were directional. But hold on. Did that actually... All right, forget it. It only wants me to do it on this side for some reason. Don't really understand why. But just pretend this is the outside. I guess technically it is. But by having the framework and the pathing and everything, and some of these would be ladders as well, on the outside you can do stuff like having your large warehouse like this, and then you can just build directly on top of the large warehouse. You can have more warehouses, and then at the very top you could have the lodges like so. So you'll not see the lodges like this, but what you can now do is you can extend further out from the side on the same level as the door for these. There we go. I don't know why that wouldn't let me do that earlier. Oh, for crying out loud. All right, well, just take my word for it, okay? I don't know why this isn't letting me do it. But it's supposed to let me... I guess I just have to comply with its insane demands. But you could do something like this with rooftop terrace, and then just have... I don't know, that kind of looks ugly. But you get the idea. We have options. I think this is a much more flexible design. It's not going to quite look as nice. But there's no rule that says we can't... There's no rule that says we can't just put a bunch of these all over the place and then have all of our decorative damn pieces and everything. So I think for the purpose of this not looking completely terrible, this would be a better option. But this would be much more useful. And you could still have one of these in the center and just use it to get back and forth between places. But yeah, there's a bunch of different options we have. Also, you could have a hybrid. I know we've been wow, okay, this is all nightmare fuel here. So I'm just going to very quickly eliminate all of these. Okay, so now we're playing with fire because I haven't really done this the right way. But I just wanted to show you real quick what this could look like with a little bit more of an emphasis on slightly aesthetic pleasing stuff. We could have our 1x1 platforms kind of coming off like this, similar to what we had in the other area. Let me just build another one of these here, so I can show you the differences between these two things here. All right, rotate that. So that's what we had in the other spot. If I can get the... oh, I did it again. All right, so let's pretend like this is not here on the bottom, because I have to have the doorways in the right spot. I forgot. So you have this here, this here, this here. You have these kind of... Let me place this, man. The platforms line up with doorways, and then you just have to have some way of connecting them. We could do this with the side platforms. The bridges, suspension bridges, don't really work like this if you have something you have to actually attach to the other side of this. But if this was, say, the top where there isn't a doorway, you could have something like this. You just have to have another stack or something so the little braces could attach. But I think having the side platforms set up like this to where they're not quite so... come on, let me place these in. It's not quite so visually distracting to have the outer framework set up like so. The only disadvantage is that you can't have a continuous ledge coming off of this because, of course, it has to come off of the double reinforced platform. Unless you wanted to play with this nonsense again, because apparently it just doesn't care. But I'm thinking the better option is likely going to be a combination of these two things. We have the central framework, and then you have the outer thing with these platforms and the little side things here to make it not look quite so hideously ugly. But like I said, I want you guys to have input on this. So let me know in the comments, do you want to see the internal structure, the external structure, or the hybrid version? Because obviously it's almost an hour. We're not going to have time to get too much more of this done today, but I really want to make sure that this is something you guys are going to like and be interested in following the construction of. So do let me know your thoughts on that. Let's, for the time being, just get rid of all this because it is a sin against everything that is holy. Super ugly looking. And we'll come back and revisit this in the next episode, along with the name of this district, which you can and should also go ahead and give me your opinions on. But I am going to start at the very bottom here with our underground pile storage. I need to be detonating this stuff, but I'm going to put one down here. And I'm not going to put one here. And I'll tell you why. Is because we have the ability to put our large warehouses as well. And by the time we have everything cantilevered out and whatever, it's going to make more sense to do things this way. So the idea I had for here was like this. You could have the medium storage, large storage, and then the underground pile. The underground pile would be cantilevered and then have something on top of it. And then we have space on the back side to put small storage of different things. I'm not going to leave all this stuff here, but just to illustrate, that would be what we could do there. And then we have our platforms going down the middle, if that's what we end up doing. And that could be like a little service corridor. Just want to make sure we have plenty of storage for just about anything you could imagine. Or, alternatively, we could even run power through the middle. The possibilities are pretty much endless. But I definitely at least want to start getting the underground piles and everything moved a little bit over here, because I do have to detonate all of this. So that is what we will do next. Unfortunately, I do have to delete the ladders to make that happen. But that's the sacrifice that we pay for having access to all the cool stuff. I do have to put this one back over here so they can still access the other areas here. But yeah, they'll take care of that. And then we can gradually start moving all of this out, because this would be a great place, like I was saying earlier, for a little train station and maybe some decorative stuff, some amusement things. But yeah, this area is going to become the megalith, monolith, whatever you want to call it. And our attractive bridge is still not built yet because they can't get to it. So we need to make sure we finish this before we say goodbye for today, or I think people might mutiny me. They have to be able to actually, you know, access all of this. So we'll let them get at that. Blast this dynamite away. Oh, look, they've actually made good progress here. They just don't have all of these done yet. It's a very long process. It was always going to take a while, but yeah, you know how this goes. I get excited about talking about something and then spend half the episode paused over here with theoretical building ideas, and then just deleting all that and well, not really accomplishing too much. Good news though, our gear production has substantially recovered, food production as well. Nobody's dying of thirst or hunger, except these guys are all complaining about it for some reason. I mean, it is what it is. Not really going to be I guess I should make sure that nobody's died of hunger. They're all dying of old age, so that's good. This district up here that I still wasn't centered on doesn't have any food. How? You know, all right. I didn't think it was going to be this big of a problem to have this paused for 2 minutes of game time. But apparently I was wrong. Apparently. So, got to prioritize the 2x2 levy, and then I got to prioritize, or I guess, whatever that. Just got to get this thing built so they'll stop complaining about it. Oh. Can't always be perfect. That's just going to be what always happens here. They are getting food, though, so, you know, nobody's going to be starving. All right. This, at the very least, is ready to go. So in preparation of you know, taking care of the rest of this stuff, I do think I'm going to place reinforced ladders. I actually should I should have those facing the other way just in case. Inside. There we go. I'm going to place reinforced ladders here to start the process of building up. Even if we don't end up doing the exoskeleton, it is going to be nice to have those once we start building on top, on top of them, so I don't have to constantly just demolish stuff for seemingly no reason. But yep, underground pile here. We're going to have another one right over here. And then, of course, start gradually moving these things around. Having this little service corridor here. Actually, I know they already started putting the stuff in, but if this is so low, yep, I'm going to do it. I know someone is absolutely screaming right now. Water storage. It just makes sense to put it down here. Oh man, this is why some of you have trust issues. I can already tell you that's gonna be why you have trust issues. But this just makes sense. I cannot believe I didn't start with this. So that's how that's gonna go. We'll just let them do what they got to do there, and trying to get this bridge finished as soon as possible, so we can actually, you know, have access here, because it's definitely not ideal. So they should be, theoretically, if this district actually has all of its materials, which it definitely does. They should be working on this next, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get started on our end of episode closing. Hopefully by the end we'll have a nice looking bridge here that people can then no longer say I hate bridges. All right, so there you have it. Spent a good hour theorizing, not actually building that much, but I think we're going to be in a really good spot once we can really ramp up the production of that area. And of course putting the trains in. So just remember, I did ask for a bunch of opinions, but please do give it some thought. and I very much would be interested. Did they climb that? Hold on. Hold on. Hold the phone. They just climbed up this thing. But it's not look at that. Oh my god. That's amazing. I didn't know they could do that. Wow. I wonder if could they climb down this to get to this path here? There's no reason for them to, but oh, I'm sickeningly curious about this now. Well, that derailed my train of thought. Trains. That's what we were talking about. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about interior versus exterior building structure, or the hybrid combo, or what routes you'd like to see the train take, or etc., etc. I do really value your input because I do read every single comment, even if I can't always respond to all of them. But I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos and interact in the comments, even if it's just to say hi. It's really fun, and I really, really enjoy doing this, and I'm very grateful that you choose to spend your time with me, because that's what makes this possible. That and the Beard Boosters with all of their fantastic support, and their contributions really help make it easier for me to choose to do this every day instead of going out and finding another job, and I'm very, very thankful. We are starting to enter the time period when YouTube tends to ramp up all of its I guess advertising stuff. Ad rates go up, so theoretically this is prime time for me to be making a whole bunch of YouTube videos. So I expect hopefully this week, upcoming week, I can have daily videos fully return, and we'll stay on that train as much as we can until we can't do that anymore, because we got tons to do. We've got this series, we've got the diorama series, we've got water beavers, we've got Ostriv to wrap up in the next couple of weeks, and I want to get to some other stuff. Because you know what's coming up next? Cities Skylines 2 in October next month. So I definitely am going to be wanting to spend a whole bunch of time in that. And I want to start doing more streams too. So if you have a specific night of the week, as far as Eastern Daylight Time, GMT -4, that you would prefer to have a stream in the middle of the week, do let me know. Because I really, really want to start doing more of that stuff. They're a whole lot of fun. And if there's enough interest, I can justify blocking off time and reorganizing other things to make that happen, because it's always a good time. We have so much fun, even if some people like to misbehave slightly. But I would love to see you there. So please do let me know. I might run some community post polls or things in the Discord to solicit further opinions. But I'm just very, very thankful that you're here, no matter whether this is your first video or you've been watching for months, watching for years in some cases. It is very, very amazing to have all this incredible support. And look at this. Look at this bridge. We got a bridge. They haven't finished putting the abutments on this side, but this looks great. I love this this yellow paint on the steel here. And the Folktales, I think Iron Teeth, it's blue, but this just looks so nice. It's very cheery, and it's a lot better than just having these platforms everywhere. So I do want to start replacing some of these giant monolithic platforms with oh hey, speaking of, we can do this one next time. I don't have time to do it right now, but definitely looking forward to when we continue building this area up over here. I wanted to have a thing for the thumbnail, but not going to happen, unfortunately. We'll get to that next time. Maybe I'll put the nice bridge in the thumbnail. Might be good. But yeah, have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope to see you tomorrow for some more water beaver fun. That's going to be a very interesting episode as we update to a new version and all of the fun changes that bring to that. But yep, we'll see you tomorrow for more water beavers. Back again at this playthrough on Thursday, Ostriv again on Friday, and then live streams Saturday, Sunday. We'll see what those bring. But yep, have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.